On the Road with Kelly and Bob is brought to you by Mueller Metal Roofs and Buildings. Made in America, made to last. Coming up on this episode.
From the time he was young, people put him on a YouTube channel because he had different phases of things that he liked to do and talk about, but the farming, his memory, and that he can memorize stuff and remember all the dates, and just, it's remarkable, and it always has been. So a family member started recording. We took it over when he said he wanted to continue recording content about farming and sharing his passion and knowledge with everyone, and we're just along for the ride.
Hi, we're Kelly
and Bob Phillips, and we're on the perpetual road trip of America's back roads,
where the journey is always the destination.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of On the Road with Kelly and Bob.
I love when we get story ideas from folks who listen to our show and follow our
journeys. So do I. Those are the best stories.
Yes, and this next story actually came to us from a good friend who follows our travels, Mary Perry, and she also follows this particular person on social media.
And the story she told us was compelling enough that we pretty quickly made that trip to where he lives, which is a long way from where we live.
South Whitley, Indiana.
It turned out to be well worth it. What is all this?
That's where all my toys, and that's where my toy collection's at. So I've got these toys lined up, and then I got toys lined up there.
When you first meet Jackson Laux, you probably think he's a typical 9-year-old boy, and he is. The loft in his family's barn here in South Whitley, Indiana, is filled with thousands of his toys. They're in every conceivable nook and cranny.
The only thing that might give you a clue that something here is a little bit different is how organized these toys are. Many of them with certificates of authentication and documents about their history. And that's because Jackson's toys aren't just toys. You might think of them as, well, role models of sorts. These toys represent everything Jackson wants to be when he grows up. Only Jackson isn't waiting.
This is the nice seat. They say that's the nice seat on that 430, but this is really the nice one because it pops up.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Can I try it out?
Yeah. It's pretty comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This thing's nice.
Now, the nice thing about this tractor is it has, see, when you run out of fuel, it has a reserve, and it will reserve fuel to get you back to a fuel tank.
If it sounds like Jackson Laux knows a thing or two about tractors, that's because he does. He has his own YouTube channel where he is widely recognized as a walking tractor encyclopedia.
He knows not just their history, but how they work, what makes each one different from another, and what they can and cannot do. He can tell you about lots of different kinds of tractors and other farm implements, but his favorite color is definitely John Deere green. Now, why do you like John Deere so much?
They've been around since 1837.
So they know what they're doing. They got it all worked out by now.
I know, I mean, Cat's right there, and then International follows 30, 40 years later, but
how many different tractors do you know about? How many brands of tractors do you know about?
John Deere, IH, Alice-Chalmers, Steiger, White, Agco, Fent, Gleaner. That's a combine. I'll take that out.
Jackson knows about all those other brands, but he doesn't want them.
As far as you're concerned, you're a John Deere man.
You're not going to buy any of those other tractors?
I don't want to ever own an Alice-Chalmers tractor in my life. But I like them. They ain't bad.
But that's just not you.
No, it's just not me. Let's say that.
Not even an old Alice-Chalmers?
I'm not trying to offend them here.
What is this over here?
Got early 71, 40-20.
That's a 71.
Yeah, early.
So a John Deere
40, yep.
40-20. What are you going to do with that? Farm.
You like farming?
Do I look it?
Just a little bit. But did you always know that you wanted to be a farmer?
Pretty much, yes.
You were born, and as soon as you could start talking.
I was born with boots on, is what I said.
You were there. What, did he have boots on at the time?
No, thank goodness. But pretty close.
Jackson's mother, Jessica, says she is still amazed by her son's knowledge of all things farming and by his desire to be a farmer.
The things he says or remembers, or he's just a little sponge. He just takes everything in. And I love looking back through the videos because he says and does stuff that just still blows my mind.
Why is farming so important to you?
Gotta feed the world somehow.
But most kids your age don't understand where their food comes from.
Sadly not. They're on their devices all the time, and they just don't get out. Like they're not outside enjoying nature, and they're not learning really anything besides when they're in school. I'm out the door doing stuff.
Why do you think that's so important?
Like I said, you gotta feed the world somehow, and you gotta take care of your property. Now there's some things. You gotta know what size of farm you are. If you got 80 acres, might want a tractor like this. Got a 200, might want a 40-20. Does it have front hydraulics? Does it have at least 2 or 4 remotes on the rear? Does it have a 3-point?
Yep.
And can I change the 540 to a small 1000 PTO?
When he's not busy being a YouTube star, 9-year-old Jackson Laux spends a lot of time planning for his future. On the day we visited the family farm there in Indiana, he had just taken delivery of a full-size tractor, a John Deere, of course, that he bought with his own money.
And like any little boy with a new toy, he was anxious to show it off. But like any grown man, he was mostly interested in the practicality of it all.
This is early 71 John Deere 40-20 diesel synchro range tractor. The clutch needs loosened because it is tight.
Now, let me ask you, when you're sitting in this seat, I don't know that you can reach this clutch real easy.
I can push all the way in on the brake, sit like this in the seat.
Well, that's important. We want you to be able to hit the brake.
So you call this your side console for your hydraulics. These are hydraulics. Because on anything from 63 to 68, the hydraulics were up here, so you're yanking your neck back like this. But on this, you just turn a little bit in the seat. A lot nicer.
A lot nicer.
Just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
You're a remarkable young man. And I put the emphasis on man here because
I think you should be calling my heart and my mind that. I would think. I guess.
But your body is still a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're okay with that for now.
Yeah, my heart's been around for about 60 years.
Why 60? Why do you pick that number? 60, 68?
Basically, the 8 is my age, so now it's 9.
So now you add 60 to that. So you were born with the heart of a 60-year-old as far as what you love.
By that point, probably 40. By this point, probably 60. Pretty much. My heart's gotten older since then.
And Jackson's knowledge of farming, farm equipment, etc., just really blew us away at 9 years old. I mean, where exactly does someone that age get all of that knowledge? Listen and find out.
I was around it. My grandpa's, my uncles farmed the land right around us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I got it from, and my parents too. So they both grew up on farms. She grew up on a dairy farm. He grew up on a hog farm.
What kind of farming do you want to do? Do you want to do dairy?
Crops.
What kind of crops?
Yeah, what would you raise?
Probably corn and beans. That's the most popular around here.
Corn and beans? What kind of beans are we talking?
What kind of beans?
Yeah, there's
soybeans.
Soybean.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you need water, you need food, and the reason you gotta have water, because if you don't have water, your whole body will not function.
We'll just shrivel up, won't we? So I've seen video of you walking through some different kinds of equipment, and you seem to know as much about farm implements and tractors and all that as an old man that's been around it his whole life. Do you realize that?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like sometimes there's the 68-year-old in me, and there's sometimes the 9-year-old in me.
Oh, okay. Can you tell me the difference between those two?
The 9-year-old is having fun being crazy. The 68-year-old is in a video talking about farm equipment.
Can you tell us about farming? What kind of job is farming? Is it hard?
Back in the day it was, and it's still somewhat hard now. But I mean, you're running equipment in the spring and the fall, but not much in the summer unless you're baling hay or feeding the cows and that kind of stuff, or moving manure around. That's when the hard work comes, like fixing barns, putting tile in, that kind of stuff. There's still a lot of things I'd like to learn about, and I feel like I should know, like I need to know.
Can you tell us what some of those things are?
There's a lot of things, too many to mention.
Can you make a living as a farmer these days?
It's sad, not really.
That is sad, yeah.
You may as well grow beans and wheat and that kind of stuff, because corn, there's too much of it. Like, it's just not worth it to grow corn because you're not making a lot of money off of it.
I'm seeing a lot of corn as I'm driving up here.
And that's the reason, there's too much corn.
Can you tell us the difference about going out there, getting an ear of corn off one of those stalks, as opposed to what you buy in the grocery store?
That's field corn. Sweet corn is a different type of corn. The sweet corn is sweeter. That they use for feed, the fuel, that kind of stuff. There's a few uses for that. And then for wheat, obviously bread, you put it in your bread. There's other products. Soybeans, there's a soybean meal to feed to your hogs. There's a lot of uses for soybeans. Sorghum, horse feed for animals pretty much.
But is there a difference for like a garden that you would have as opposed to what you get in the grocery store? Does it taste better when it comes from like?
When it's right off the vine or the plant, there's no preservatives in it. Once the preservatives are in it, it's not got that fresh flavor anymore. Because they gotta have those preservatives. Yeah. These eggs would be better than what you buy in the store.
Tomatoes too. Oh.
Oh my gosh, yes. I sometimes at night, like in the evening, I go out to our yellow tomato vine, just pick it off, clean the top off.
And just eat it.
Yeah.
You eat it like an apple, just.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, because when they're fresh, they're really good. You're getting fresher food that's going to be better for your health. It's going to be better for your diet. It's going to be better for a lot of things.
Remind me, how old are you again?
9.
9.
Feel like we're talking to a 68-year-old.
Well, at this point, 69.
69.
He's had a birthday, Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you know how to fix stuff? Like when your tractor breaks, you're going to be able to fix that?
There's big issues and there's small issues. If you look around the motor and you look at the block of the motor and you see a crack, big problem.
Gotta have a new block, don't you?
Yes.
We're talking new motor now,
Yeah.
rebuilding.
If you see a fried wire on the starter, just stay there in the field and try and find a way to fix that. And then if it's a tire problem, you might want to have one of those basketball air pumpers, because sometimes that might work. Or an
On
air
those
pump
big
on
old
it.
tires?
Be pumping a lot.
He's got a lot of energy.
He does. could burn it
So
off.
I believe he could probably do it. We couldn't, but he
No.
could. Would that make you feel good to know you were helping to feed the world?
Yes, it would probably take a lot of stuff off my load. Probably, it probably would.
Do you have a big load that you need to take some stuff off of, or? I mean,
Not
is it-
really.
No, not yet. anyway.
Besides feeding the world, that's about it.
Just feeding the world. That's it.
And so much has happened since our visit with Jackson. He's become friends with Luke Bryan, the country star. He was on the Country Music Association Awards show the other night. He's been appointed by John Deere to be their first ever kid farmer. He's on his way, folks.
And you can listen to On the Road with Kelly and Bob wherever you get your podcast, or just download the free Odyssey app and listen anytime, anywhere.